Today, I'm going to be making one of Joe's favorite dishes, oxtails. You're watching The Bear Pantry Show. So of course, to make oxtails, we have to start off with what it is, oxtails. Look at the price on this thing here. See if I can get really close. $11.89 for this little bit of stuff. So this is kind of like an expensive meal. And I got it just at the regular supermarket. And let me go ahead and get this open. And let's see what this meat actually looks like. It comes off like big chunks of all bone in the middle, and then there's meat on the outside and a lot of fat. See, and it come off like that. And this is actually what it says, the tail of the ox, or the tail of the cow, right? So just a few pieces. This is a big chunk. I don't know if we have to cut this. You know what? I'm going to enlist Joe to come and assist us with this, because this is actually his menu, his recipe. So I went to go get Joe, and while he's getting all gussied up, actually he's putting a shirt on, I'm going to pour some distilled white vinegar on the meat because I don't have any lime or lemon. Of course, if you had that, I would use that first. And just pour that on there because we're going to get some water on it to get it washed. And I'm going to see if Joe wants to cut this up into smaller pieces, or if we're actually going to cook them in these huge pieces. In the meantime, I'm going to get my ricotta. I'm going to get my salt and black pepper and everything else that we're going to add to this meat to make it spicy. So the meat is already washed. I washed it with the vinegar and some water. And I got Joe, and he says that we're not going to cut it any smaller because we're going to need some kind of electric saw or something to do that with. I've got my salt, my black pepper, and the ricotta, and he's going to come onto the scene right now and get it seasoned for me. And I'm going to go into sous chef mode and just assist him with anything that he needs to make this dish. Okay, so I'm going to do some of the narration here until I can get Joe mic'd. But in the meantime, he's adding salt to the washed and clean meat. And he's going to add black pepper, and he's going to rub that ricotta really good on the meat. See, it's going to be very spicy because look how much black pepper he's adding. So he's going to the sink to look for something. So what he got there was some water in that glass. And let me just watch what he does. Okay, so he's making his marinade. And see, he does it a little bit different than me because I would rub the ricotta onto the meat, and he probably will rub it a little bit onto it too, but I don't really add any extra water to make marinade. I just let it release off of the meat while it's cooking. That black pepper is kind of getting to my nose. In the meanwhile, while Joe is doing that, let me show you what I have prepared to the right-hand side of him. I cut up some onions, and I washed and got some cilantro going, and I don't know if he's going to maybe add some yellow peppers or some type of peppers to this, but in the meantime, I'm not sure if he's going to put that in a blender and make that into a marinade or cook that in it somehow, or we'll let Joe just kind of guide us because this is actually his specialty. So see how beautiful and rich red that's getting? Let me try to zoom in on that. It's beautiful, huh? Yeah. Remember I told you before about anointed hands. You know, when it comes to cooking, Joe has anointed hands to do these type of meats and all that type of good stuff, and the rice and beans. My anointing is in the breads and the flour and stuff like that. So there's the meat. So tell us what's next, Joe.
What we're going to do next, we're going to put some oil in the pot. And you could use olive oil, you could use corn oil, you could use any oil that you choose. But today
And you know I use canola, right?
But my wife, she like canola, but I like olive oil. It's better for me. I mean, it's better for you. So we're going to use a little bit of olive oil now. We're going to put the pot on here. You can see we put a little bit of oil in there. Not too much, see, just a little bit. Just to, I'll say, to grease the bottom of the pot. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to put the stove on, and we can get the oxtail going.
All right. So Joe put the fire on and it's been about 30 seconds, and normally I would wait a couple of minutes when I'm doing any kind of chicken, beef or whatever to make the oil get a little bit hot before I put the meat in, but Joe says we absolutely do not have to wait on that. So he's gonna go ahead and put these pieces in. And that's only like 30 seconds it's been on, you guys, and it's already warming up. So you put those big chunks in. It just looks lovely already to me. Honestly, it looks good already. So he's gonna allow that to brown on one side, and he's gonna turn them over on the different sides accordingly, because some of them look kind of square, you know? So he's gonna turn them over to the different sides accordingly to make them get brown. And then at that point, we'll see what he does next. So this literally has been maybe a minute or so, and it's getting brown pretty fast. So he's turning his fire down a little bit, and he's just kind of turning it to make it get lightly brown. And you know, if you notice if you cook any type of meat and it doesn't get brown as quickly as this, is because you're not using the ricotta. That's what it does. It colors the meat so it could get brown quicker. And we as Belizeans, we don't really like to eat a lot of white meat. We want our meat brown. Joe has a saying that he always says, if it's not burnt, send it back. If it's not black, send it back. So he's turning it. It actually smells pretty good. I'm standing kind of way back here with the camera, and I have it zoomed in because I don't want these oil particles to get on my lens. But it's looking pretty good. And by the way, you guys, this is going to cook for an awfully long time. How many hours do you think, Joe?
2 hours because it's soft.
2? He's saying about 2 hours, and at the end of it, I'm sure I'm going to tell you how long it took, because it has to get soft, because this is beef. So as it's brown, it's going to come to a point where he'll add the marinade. And I don't know at what point he'll add the onion and the cilantro. Can you tell us more or less at what point you'll add that?
As soon as it gets brown.
As soon as it's brown? Okay. Well, we'll keep monitoring to see what Joe does. But this is our Belizean Oxtails. So this took a total of about 5 minutes, and it's totally brown on all sides. So now he's going to add his raw onions. And even though this is going to take a lot of hours to cook, I think he's adding his onions now because he wants them to like cook away into the gravy. So he's adding the onions, and he's going to let those saute and get brown before he adds the rest of his marinade.
Well, as you can see, I just put the onion in so the pot will simmer down. It's not popping up no more, because if I don't stop the pot from popping up, the master will whip my butt because she don't like her stove to get dirty.
And it's so true, you guys. We have so many fights in here, not just with me and Joe, but with the kids too, because they dirty my stove and they don't clean it. And by the way, you see my little sign on the fridge that says the Bear Pantry Show? See how they have the N tumbling down in the word pantry? Sometimes they remove the R and they put the Bear Pantry Show. These kids are so bad. When I'm doing the show, they do so many things to clown me. We have to have so many retakes and takes and takes. I want to kill them sometimes. So take a look at how the onions look sauteed in the pan with the oxtails, and now he's gonna add his marinade. Let me get that for him. And the marinade has the cilantro in it. So he added a lot of marinade, and we're not making a soup. So this is actually gonna take a while to get cooked down, but you still want to stay close on monitor like I told you. And as the pot starts frying again, like the way it sounded just now, then you're going to add a little bit, not that much water anymore, but a little bit of water at a time to make it just stew. He's going to put his cover on, and we're going to watch, make sure it doesn't boil over. It shouldn't, but we're just going to keep an eye on this.
Come back in the next 15 minutes or so and check on it.
Just the monitor? All right. So what are you doing now? What are you doing?
Just adding more water into it. You just got to keep adding water into it until it gets soft.
Okay, so how long has it been already? About a half hour?
About a half an hour. And we'll be back in the next half an hour and check it out, and if we need some more water, just keep on adding water in there.
Okay, in the meantime, do we get to rest?
Huh?
In the meantime, do we get to rest?
Yeah, we can rest now.
So this is about 3 hours later, and it's taking a really long time because Joe says this came off of an old cow. But anyways, look, see, poke it with a fork to show Joe. Let me try to zoom in. See how you can just like stab it with the fork?
It's really soft. Yeah.
And it's coming off real tender, see? Do it again. Do it again, I'm really zoomed in. So Joe's putting some okra in this dish. He found some frozen one in the freezer. If we didn't have any, we would have left it off. But he likes to put okra in any type of his stews, so he's just going to add this to the pot right now. Look, it's a big old blob. See, it's frozen. But you know how okra works. That will break apart in a little while. And are you going to use that whole half a bag that you have there? No? Just a little bit? Okay, he just wants to put a little bit. And of course, this is totally optional. You guys don't have to do that at all. And we'll allow this to cook for a little while longer. How much more would you say? Until the okra is cooked into the stew. You notice we have quite a bit of stew going on. It's not really a soup. It's a stew, see? And so more of that liquid is going to cook out of it. And at that point, we're going to come back and figure what we're going to serve it with. So right after Joe put the okra in, he added about a cup of water because he wanted to give the okra opportunity to cook in the stew, okay? He's going to put his lid on, and I guess we're going to walk away for another 20 minutes or so. And then when we come back, we'll let you know how far we are from done, or maybe by then it'll be done. Here's our finished product. We served it over white rice. Of course, it could be served with white rice and stewed beans. It could be served with rice and beans, whichever one you like. Look at the beautiful oxtail right there. Isn't that just gorgeous, goldeny brown and pretty? Look at the gravy. If you can see right here, we have all the okra going with the onions and stuff that Joe kind of put in the stew. This is our Belizean Oxtails. So this is going to be our little Creole proverb for the day, and I hope that I can translate it the correct way that it was meant. It goes like this in Creole. A fish come from the bottom of a river and tell us the alligator got pain in belly, believe on. In English, it says, if the fish comes from the bottom of the river and tells you that the alligator has a tummy ache, believe the fish. And I think what that means is if you hear something from a reliable source and they tell you that harm's coming your way or something to that degree, don't go investigating it so that you can get injured. You know, don't go to the alligator to ask him, does he really have a tummy ache? Because the fish already told you, the fish is next to the alligator, right? So I think that's what it means. If it's something different, you'll certainly correct me. But those are some of the little phrases I used to hear people say when I was growing up. And it's like so funny and colorful. But these are the little things that I'm trying to rack my brain to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
I'm laughing because I'm always telling him thank you, and the first thing he goes, you're welcome. He is so funny. For those of you who don't get to see him too often on camera, he's got a really neat sense of humor. And I'm so glad that I convinced him today to come help me do the oxtails, or actually I helped him because I became his little sous chef, right? But when he moves into the kitchen, boy, he takes over. Anyways, I want to thank you guys. Well, first of all, I want you guys to try this menu and then tell me how it comes out, okay? If you notice all the little things he put in. And still, it wasn't too many ingredients, right? Because we try to do things Bear Pantry style over here. I want to thank you guys for watching the show, right? For what else? For buying the book? Mm-hmm. What else? Help me out here.
Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribing.
Yeah,
and for commenting. You know, I really appreciate your comments and I look forward to them, and especially if you're asking me different things about the menu that you need to know. That's why I ask you guys to friend me on my Facebook, Barbara M. Greenidge, and I'm going to put up the graphic, because when you write to me on Facebook, I get the message right away and I can answer back more quickly than if I have to go search for it through YouTube, right? And also follow me on my Twitter. That's another way that you can speak to me more quickly, and that's at Bear Pantry Show. I'll put up that graphic. Until I see you guys again, take care. Say bye, Joe.
Bye-bye.